You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Podcast Network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
And she called herself Lil.
Did we get new intro music? What? What? They just heard the other music and now this. What's
So,
Now she and her
Guffey? Do you need fired? What's going on over here?
No, man.
Well, play the intro music.
Well,
whatever. Dakota's co-host too.
keep playing the song, Chris.
Dakota mentioned this on our wonderful.
This is
Patreon side.
if you want to know what this is about, you have to join the Patreon side.
This is the Beatles.
Yeah, the Beatles.
a rocky burst in
This is
and grinning a grin.
Oh, different verse. My bad.
why. Why am I being subjected to the Beatles? Did we lose a war? We won the war. It's 4th of July.
Fast and short and rock.
That's enough of that.
That is
way to fade it out, producer
Rocky
Chris.
Raccoon by the Beatles. Actually, funny story about that song. The Xbox that my parents bought me whenever I was growing up, the original Xbox, it was pre-owned, and those were back in the days where you uploaded any music that you wanted, and mine had that song only.
That was
uploaded
it.
to- that was
the one you got. No wonder you love it so. Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 119 of East Central Indiana's favorite podcast. I'm Jeremiah Morrell. Today I am joined by one co-host and one producer, Dakota Davis and Chris Guffey.
Today's episode features the three of us sitting at our half-circle table and speaking the truth and speaking our minds and giving you our opinions, which are just like armpits. We promise we all have one. They all stink. Also, we are going to be talking about the 4th of July, what
Dad
it means
jokes
to
are
us.
terrible.
Yeah,
Terrible.
that's not... My dad always... he never said armpits. He said other parts of the body, but we're not going to go into that. We're going to talk about our Facebook feed, what's been going on in the world of our social medias, but mainly just the 4th of July. This is a great holiday. It is. I hear it's the best. Everyone tells me it's the best. Everyone says I do it the best. So let's get into that.
The show is about our lives in rural Indiana. We are here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Remember that when we talk about our Facebook shares this week. Sometimes we will provoke you. Other times we will make you laugh. Hopefully you will always learn something new. Dakota, we get some thank yous.
That's right. We always need to thank our top Patreon donors, the people who donate $50 a month to the Patreon side of things, which are the people who keep the lights on. Every person on the Patreon keeps the lights on, but if you're over $50 a month, you get a special thank you. Those folks are Christopher Bilbrey, Christy Avery, Jonathan Phillips, and, of course, our lovely listener from all the way in Hawaii, Craig DaCosta.
He made it back home safely. He's been hanging out in Canada and in the northeastern United States, and we're glad Craig's back home. We've been watching from a distance, worried about his safety because his safety is our safety.
Of course, there's $50 on the line. Craig, I feel like we've been giving life updates on Craig for like the past month.
Following his
where
journey has been
going.
very exciting.
If you want to help us out on the Patreon side, we would greatly appreciate it. You folks keep the lights on in the studio, keep the internet running smoothly, and ensure that if we need anything for this show, then we are able to provide it for ourselves. If you want to sign up, then it's patreon.com/Boss Hog of Liberty. You can sign up for only $5 a month, and somehow Mason Rottinghouse figured out a loophole, and he's at like $1.50 a month.
I wonder if he gets all the content. We don't.
He does get all the content because we don't discriminate in the Patreon feed. So whenever something is uploaded, we just put it Patreons.
Any Patreon member, not at a certain tier.
That's right.
So this show is also sponsored by Farmer Brad LLC. Last week was sponsored as well. Episode 118 was by Farmer Brad, Wayne County, Indiana, poultry producer, and they have the chicken waterer, farmerbrad.com/Boss Hog for the chicken waterer. You guys get a special deal. I'm amazed. We actually had some folks participate in that. I didn't know this is a group that was going to need chicken waterers, chicken waterers, but it happened.
It's a tongue twister. Chicken waterers.
Chicken waterers.
Waterer.
Well, yes. I mean, you could buy two. You could get plural. And then Farmer Brad also produces in Wayne County poultry.
That's right.
Guffey, go to the fridge for me.
Great chicken.
So there's we have some
the greatest
frozen chicken that was provided to us last week. There were 3.
Listen, folks.
Now there's only 2.
Everybody keeps telling me that Farmer Brad's poultry is the best poultry on the market. We've also heard that Farmer Brad's poultry and his chicken waterers are the best waterers on the market.
What's the city on that, Guffey? What's the city? It tells you there's a producer label. Where's it grown?
It does. It says raised by Farmer Brad LLC.
Don't give the address, just the city.
Greens Fork, Indiana,
Greens Fork.
47345.
It's a troubling community for for last week's guest, Mark Brim. But anyway, Farmer Brad provided us 3 chickens. I thawed one, and I produced it. I cooked it myself in the crock pot all day on low. That's why there's a spot on my shirt. I got a little too excited when I was eating it here in the studio, and some of that lovely juicy chicken hit the front side of my shirt. So it's good. I can vouch for it. I'm going to need a Tide stick.
Farmer Brad, he's giving $3 off to all of the people who go to farmerbrad.com/Boss Hog, and then also at checkout you can enter the promo code Boss Hog, and you get $3 off. You help support our show because that helps him know that people from our show are going to his website, even if you don't have chickens. We talked about it last week. If you don't have chickens, you live in the city of Newcastle, and you go, guys.
It's a symbol.
You say, it's totally illegal for me to have chickens in the city of Newcastle. Guess what? I don't care. I don't care that it is illegal. Let them smash down on you with all of their wrath. You stand firm in your belief that you can
nullify
raise
that
poultry.
law.
Take it to a jury trial if you have to. I'm sure that Sean can get you fully exonerated. Liberty defender Sean Rao.
You
in Newcastle.
have a natural right to feed yourself. That's what I think that'll stand up in a court.
I feel so.
I think if you assert your natural right to feed yourself, you
take
can
it to the
chickens.
Supreme Court. I would love that. You know what? It's constitutional law now. Any municipality cannot outlaw chickens.
Once again, Farmer Brad LLC is the sponsor, and we do appreciate them. We're very excited.
Dakota, real quick.
Brad also says that if you would like to donate a chicken waterer, you can to a local 4-H student. Their county fairs are happening now, so if you want to make a purchase and want to donate it to a local 4-H'er, Farmer Brad can make that happen, and I'm sure we can find a Henry County or Wayne County 4-H member to connect that to as well.
Dakota, I was going to say, the man that's keeping Newcastle from owning chickens, Aaron Dickin, just joined.
Come on now. You have one friend on the council.
He hates
one
chickens.
guy who's trying to pass a chicken ordinance to fix this, and you're picking on him.
So it is funny. We like to give Aaron crap because he's on the city council. And
he's the one person who's actually shown interest in solving the problem you're worried about, and you blame him for
so
it.
we give him crap for not allowing chickens, but
Now,
he
that
is
said,
the only
he's not
person.
fixed it yet. He's not.
Right.
He's not shown any results. I'm sure that if he gets another like-minded county or city councilman, maybe he'll have a shot at it.
I'll help him write the ordinance. The
Now,
ordinance
I
reads,
will say
the ordinance reads that the city of Newcastle and any location within city limits shall not be prohibited to raise food on their property, whether cows, chickens, or other forms of livestock. I want someone in the middle of freaking downtown Newcastle to have a cow in their backyard because I think it's
what about somebody at the Jennings?
I think it's your God-given right as an American.
What about somebody at the Jennings Apartments?
For sure. Just put it in the 1400 Plaza.
City Councilman Dickin is in Washington, D.C. right now. I'm sure he's meeting with Representative Pence over this important issue. All right. Thank you, Farmer Brad. Thank you, Patreon folks, for your support. It's always helpful. This has been a very, very difficult day on the internet. I'm thankful that Facebook has gotten their story straight. and they've gotten it back up and running by 7:00 Eastern time so that we could be on the air. Instagram, Facebook, and the WhatsApp app have had massive outages today.
I felt like I was a kid again on dial-up.
If you didn't have your memes saved to your local machine or in your Google Drive, you were out of luck. You could not share memes today. The currency of the era was gone.
Yep,
Totally gone.
You couldn't share. Screenshotting of funny stuff you saw on the internet. My life has been made by the new Boomer group that started in the last 3 days. That I'm hoping I get my top fan badge in. I've been having the greatest time ever.
I don't think you
the
can
Boomer
get
group.
top fan badges in groups.
Well, there ought to be. I'm going to complain about it. If
You
I'm
would-
not top fan by the end of the week, I'm complaining about it in there in all caps.
You would have, because it's every time that I get on Facebook, Jeremiah Morrell has posted at least 3 new posts in that group.
I've been training my entire life for this group.
And every single Facebook friend that I have,
They're all in
has,
it now.
has been in it because Jeremiah Morrell invited him.
I
them to join
invited
the
a
group.
handful. My brother was in it, and that was Cade. Cade brought Danny in.
Cade invited me in. as
Yeah,
well.
Cade went as crazy as I did, and Mark Brim and I have been having the greatest time ever. And then the first night I was in, I guess, was Monday night. Chris Spangle, dear leader, and I had a fake fight, and I got him ejected. I got him thrown out of the Boomer group.
Oh, it was so good.
I started a poll. I got him thrown out. Some other lady that I don't know said, no, Jeremiah's just a snowflake, and added it. And that wound up winning the poll, but Spangle was out, so I felt better. But then Judas Davis over here voted against me, and so did Cade.
I don't even remember how I voted.
I know how you voted. I haven't seen you comment at all, though, Dakota. You've been remarkably restrained. What the hell?
I have a soft ban on Facebook.
Boomer abuse?
Well, this all started last week. Last week, I had made a couple Facebook posts, and I tried to comment to people who were commenting on my posts, and tried to interact with some other folks. And every time that I tried to, then a little message would pop up, and it said "failed to post," and there was a red exclamation point. And I'm like, this is strange. I didn't really think much of it. I restarted my phone. I updated the app, and I thought, surely this will fix it. Much to my dismay, it did not fix the issue. So later, I think it was Sunday night or early Monday morning, I went online and I searched. I was like, hey, dear Google.
My dearest Google.
How's come I cannot comment on my Facebook? And I found myself in a Facebook help
You should probably
section.
put this in the Boomer group. The Boomer
The
group.
Boomer group. Yeah, I probably should. I found myself in a Facebook help section, and it said, you may have been soft banned. And I'm like, what is that? And they said, you may have had a comment that was reported, and there are repercussions to violating our rules. They give you a whole list of ways to find out if you've been banned. And turns out I had. Someone had reported one of my comments in the Facebook group, Cult of the Curious. Sorry, mushmouth. Which is a Facebook group devoted to fans of the Time Suck podcast. Which, so I'm starting to rack my brain. What comment could I have possibly made?
How did I abuse somebody? The problem is when you've been doing what we have for the last 2 or 2.5 years in at the tip of the sword in social media, you start to lose your filter, and you become broken, and you don't realize that you've offended somebody.
Yeah, I here's the thing about that group, though. I really don't like it. I don't like it at all. Every time I see a post from
The Time Suck group?
yeah,
Have you tried leaving it?
I love the podcast itself. It's one of my absolute favorites. And however, the group is horribly annoying. So
While you're
remember
formulating this thought, Sarah just sent me a picture of Chase double fisting 2 bottles of Moscato, so he is having a great time. Go ahead.
This group has gotten really irritating, and I can remember that I let off some steam on one of the irritating posts.
You called that a boomer, didn't you?
No. What has happened in this group is people feel like this is an actual group of their closest friends. It is not. It is a group surrounding a mutual like for the podcast. It's not even like the Patreon supporters group, which I am also a part of, which is a pretty cool group. Yeah, the exclusive group is cool. The regular group sucks. And the reason why is because people keep getting into that group and they just post like, hey, time suckers, there's been this really horrible thing going on in my life. Do you have any advice? And I'm like,
This is not that.
this isn't the group. Like, find a I need family therapy group or something else to post your horrible time in life. And I made a comment that said, "What is this group just becoming a complain about my life group?" And I think that must have been the one. There's an appeals process that I can go through to be able to comment again.
Demand a jury trial.
And at that time, I can see what the comment was. I'm just not gonna deal with that. I don't care. I don't care enough. Facebook doesn't control my life enough to really care that I can't comment. Like, you got a month that you can't comment. How horrible is that? We really showed you.
You're really suffering.
I get the same thing in the indie fuel fanatics.
People that
They don't complain about their lives so much as they post things that aren't hockey related or fuel related.
Which is weird. It's just like
we're here to talk about this one thing.
Yeah. Well, there's like a lady.
Why don't you just start linking to the boomer group for those folks, and then they can have that conversation in there.
So
there's a place for that, ma'am.
Logan is a dog that comes to the fuel games because of the owner. Well, he's retiring, and now and it seemed like for a while, every other post in that group was, what should I name a new dog? Blah, blah, blah. Look at my dog. Make sure you watch the news because there's going to be stuff about my dog. I'm like, I didn't join a dog group. Don't get me wrong. Your dog's
annoying.
Beautiful.
It's super
but
irritating.
This is for the fuel.
Is this dog a fuel mascot, or this is just somebody that has a dog?
This is somebody that has a dog that goes to the games.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I don't care.
I'm like,
If it's a team mascot, then I will allow it.
It's not a mascot, though.
He's kind of become an unofficial mascot.
Yeah, but, I want to.
If they were posting about that specific dog, then it would be okay instead of just their random dog that has nothing to do with the Indianapolis fuel.
If they had if it was the actual mascot, even the unofficial mascot, cool. You want to post once a month about it, no big deal. But I don't need to hear about every other post, especially when I'm trying to figure out who we signed, who our head coach is, what's going on, who are we releasing, who went to Europe,
Sports.
Here's
my problem with the Time Suck group is that
welcome to bitching about other people's groups on the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. It's Jeremiah Morrell and Dakota Davis.
This is
along
an
with producer Chris
education.
Guffey.
This is an education session.
Don't be that person.
Learn how to behave on the internet, folks, so that innocent bystanders that get tired of putting up with your crap
don't get a 30-day shadow ban.
Don't get banned on the Facebook. My problem with them is I would start reading these giant long posts thinking that it was a friend of mine on Facebook, and I'm like, oh my god,
she's poor girl.
She's going through something horrible.
I'm feel terrible.
And then I'll scroll back up. I'm like, who is this? No one. It's nobody. I have no connection to you.
It's somebody in Oregon.
We listen to the same podcast. That is it. That's the only way I know you. I don't care. I don't care about what's going on.
Well,
in your
now
life.
you're just a heartless libertarian.
I have too much. There's too much going on in my life and the people I care about to care about your random crap as well. God, figure out another way to deal with it. Put yourself in order, people.
Wow.
God.
Are you okay?
Figure out your issues.
This is Dakota.
And you know what? Don't go to random people on the internet to try to figure out your issues.
She can't afford therapy. It's like Kathleen Madigan used to talk about how she'd watch Oprah just hoping her problem came up.
A podcast group, a podcast group where you learn about true crime and other historical events is not the place you want to go for family counseling. Ugh. All right, that's all I got to say about
Dakota
it.
is very upset.
I'm so irritated.
Chase is
about
now
it.
finally apologizing. What's it say, Guffey or Dakota? Guffey can't see it.
I can't see it.
Do you want me to read all of them?
No, just this.
He said, sorry, I'm white girl wasted.
And he just clicked into the group to watch. Yeah. Well, have fun tonight, buddy. A couple updates here. Zach Burcham says there's 34,000 people in the Boomer group, and it seems like that Jeremiah and Kate are 25% of the posts that he's seeing. I think that's because we're friends.
I made 2 posts this morning forgetting that I couldn't comment.
So you just start them.
But I tried to make some really witty comments, and I had them all typed out. And it is really irritating not being able to comment. I said that I don't really care, but it's
You do
super
care.
irritating.
Yeah, you're gonna have.
It gets on my nerves.
Give it another week, and you're gonna have a backup account.
I come up
You'd
with
be like Spangle, where it's like it's just to administer stuff in case I get blocked out or whatever. It's not. You've crossed over to Shitposter, and now you need to have a sock account. Congratulations.
listen. If these people wouldn't ask for advice in random groups, I wouldn't have to deal with it. And listen, I'm sorry you're so thin-skinned that you can't deal with someone else telling you to put your life in order, and the internet's not the right place to be asking for it. You're not in self-help Reddit, right? God, irritating.
All right, so that's enough of that. So yeah, we've been suffering through Facebook being broken today. You've been suffering anyway, but I didn't realize how much people shared memes in group chats and until today.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, oh yeah, some asshole sent me another picture today and I can't see it.
Well,
Yeah.
and
Then they're indignant. And then you have to go to the absolute pit of society and text a picture to somebody.
text messages.
Spangle said he was prairie dog and had to go to the bathroom, but he couldn't because he didn't have any memes. And
Gross.
I texted him the entire Ross Ticknor hand-drawn album. I texted him like 18 pictures of me.
That's
today.
awesome.
But yeah, then he complained. All I do is help the man, and he just complained.
So, crap.
Yep, that's
That's
where that's going.
Are you okay?
With the pictures, with like Messenger and other things that weren't working, we have in my workshop at work, in the shop at work, we have a nice we built a workbench, and there's a really old vise that we mounted to the workbench. It is a Reed manufacturing bench vise, and there's going to be some tool nerds that are going to appreciate that it's Reed manufacturing 203.5 model. It's about
Read with an R.
It's about
EED.
54 years old, and I have been working on it on downtime. Like if it starts downpouring like it started today, then I'll spend some time and work on it. It's about 3 weeks, and I've really cleaned everything up, taken all the rust off of it, and lubed and greased everything. Found the original paint, and it looks really beautiful. And today I finished it, and I wanted to share how proud I was. Oh,
They finally did come through.
Now.
Yes, we're looking at them internally here in the studio.
I wanted to share how proud of this vice restoration that I did.
You did good work.
And
you did good work.
No one could see it.
But it was like a 4-hour.
It was wasted.
Nothing worked.
Wasted.
Nothing worked whatsoever.
If anybody has a vice that
It was a
needs
struggle.
restored,
So
I'll do it. I loved it.
So I had a great time with it. As always, I find joy. I don't get disappointed. I find joy in ways to have fun and to get around it. So immediately I went to the new Boomer group and I started posting. Okay, you guys need to turn off your modem, restart your modem, dial back in. If you don't get a connection over 30K, right click, disconnect, try again. Right.
My wife said that she had to leave the Boomer group because that's all she was seeing in her news feed
Was the Boomer post?
were posts from Jeremiah and Kate acting like boomers.
So today I totally stole from somebody's. The best part is that I've been stealing from people I know and grown up with, and things I've just been seeing and posting them in there as me. Like I've just been complete theft, total theft in the Boomer group.
At least you admit it.
80% of it is just things that I've seen. Some of them are absolute copy and pastes. But the greatest thing I saw today to combat to combat pictures not being able to be shared on Facebook is somebody took the Pikachu, I guess it's the shocked Pikachu. What do you call it, Guffey?
Shocked Pikachu.
Shocked Pikachu. Indignant Pikachu. And they made it out of just text characters. And then I shared it from the Boss Hog page, and it got shared by like it reached 3,000 people in the last 2 hours.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
It made my day. And we've had incredible traffic the last couple of days.
But you made the post. Like I've noticed that the Baby Boomer Facebook group has really kind of seeped into your mind because you put ATM and
No,
PLS.
that was, I literally lifted every bit of that too. I didn't create that. I literally copied and pasted the whole thing.
It's plagiarism then.
Yeah, totally. Well, listen, man.
You're never going to get your master's if you keep this up.
I don't care if I ever see the inside of a college classroom again. I'm in it for the clicks. I'm a clicks whore right now for the show.
Yeah, you are.
What we've done in the last week and a half is also
Week and a half?
This last week, I guess.
Yeah.
It probably started
3 days.
since Sunday or Monday.
Yeah, I think it was Monday.
Yeah, Monday's when it first broke.
It happened twice in a row that tourists were arrested.
We are an official July 1st. So the month of July has been the month we've focused upon this issue. July 1st and July 2nd, we've had a post. We're on the distribution list for the Indiana State Police. And if there is something of interest, sometimes it's public information that's important and there's somebody missing, it's an Amber Alert, or there's been an accident or something's happened, we will put something out that we think matters to our audience. The last 2 days, there have been reports of marijuana, out-of-state folks that have been arrested on our interstate that passes through our community. And all we have done is put a minor headline or editorial and then run the verbatim Indiana State Police.
I wouldn't even
press
call
release.
it. We haven't put any editorial.
The
only things that we have added are the parts that are in caps lock.
Well, and I've literally put whatever's in caps, and I've called it the Indiana State Police press release, and then I have a line that differentiates, and it is nothing but what they've put. The first one came July 1st. The second one on July 2nd. The second one. The second one, I am so proud of myself that I'm beyond. I can't. This has made my month already. The state police said 34 pounds of suspected marijuana found on a traffic stop. That's all I needed. I looked at Sarah and said, it's happened again. I have to get to a computer right now.
I loved the suspected marijuana. Not sure yet. Could be oregano.
So
The dog alerted.
This came out. We got an email at like 7:30 or 8 o'clock, and the stop happened at 6:30. So literally, somebody from the state from the arresting organization rushed this to the printers. So it came out fast. So I editorialized it and said, tourist captured. I've always called anybody that's passing from another state through this state that gets caught with the marijuana, I've always used the word tourist to describe them because I think we're arresting tourists.
Go back to the police special episode with Matt Pierce and Brandy Pierce, and you'll hear the story behind tourist.
It's not new. So tourist captured in Henry County, found with 0.017 tons of marijuana.
Got him.
And I shared it from Wall. The first one got shared by Liberty Memes, which was amazing. And then this one has gone off the charts. In 2 days, we've it's built the first one, which was some father and son from Ohio that had 16,000 links or reach immediately. This one's done over 24,000 with engagement. That's like over 8,500 people have interacted with it.
It's insane.
It's been crazy. And the comments,
Should have tagged
people have
ISD.
treated us. I did. The second one, I actually did go back and tag the Indiana State Police in it. So
perfect.
they are getting notified. Their official public information office.
I love it.
They can reach out
because
to us
people
at
are
any time.
complaining to us. Basically, like we're the state police, like we did it,
Yeah.
and they're taking exception to my headline that I'm very proud of, saying, "How dumb are you people?" And I'm just, it's brought so much joy. It's brought so much.
It is quite funny how a multitude of people have gone on there and they've complained and they've made comments to us like you guys are idiots. ... Arresting people for marijuana. No, guy. We're not. No.
Wasn't
This
me, bro.
this page is Boss Hog of Liberty, not Indiana State Police.
Oh, it's been fun. It's been really fun, and people. The tides have turned. People in Indiana are definitely ready for a change. This is ridiculous. There's like 35 states that have medically legalized this. 13 or 14 states, including 2 border states, have now completely legalized it for recreation. We look like fools. And the purpose of sharing these things is exactly what's happening. And we don't have to say anything. The fans do it. The public does it for us. public outcry is there.
It's really just,
And I don't care if you smoke or not. And these people aren't hurting anybody by passing through the
Right.
community. It just makes us look like fools. And by the way, the jail that we sit 300 feet away from is over capacity and we're in lawsuits. But every one of these stories ends with, and we took him to the Henry County Jail. Great.
I think that the reason that the tides have turned so much on this issue is because if you really just think about it objectively, you are putting a person in a cage for a plant. And that is the most ridiculous thing that you could ever possibly think of. And it's not because of the plant, it's because of what it does to that person's state of mind. So you want to intentionally punish someone for wanting their state of mind to be altered. And it's the craziest thing in the world. Joe Rogan puts it a really interesting way with any drug is if me and you, Guffey, we are the last two guys on the face of the earth.
Okay.
And all of a sudden you want to tell me what I can and cannot ingest. Who are you? Why do you get that authority?
I'm number one.
And that's all it is. Like why does a cop feel like he has the authority? Because the state grants it to him, right? The state says, the legislature says, we have decided that this is punishable by putting you into a cage and taking your money from you, and maybe your car and any of the cash that you had on you at the time, and all of a sudden that's okay. But they're just people.
So
they're people like us. Why do we, as the people that are being protected and served, and also the people that are represented by the legislature, why do we go, all right, yeah, I'm fine with it?
You need to challenge yourself and decide if you want to give that authority to the state or not, because we have that authority and we just turn it over blindly to people that'll take 25 years to turn it back over to you. The first story that we shared was somebody that was doing 89 to 70.
Yeah.
And
With no
folks are like,
license.
you're dumb. Yeah. Neither person had apparently they're sovereign citizens too. And neither person had a license. But the press release says they didn't get a ticket for any of that. Yeah. They didn't get arrested for not having a license. They didn't get arrested or it didn't make their press release that they care about for speeding. They just simply got
what's hilarious is it's like the way that
a Class A misdemeanor.
The way I imagine it playing out in my head, and I know that it probably didn't happen this way, but the way I like to think about it was the cop lights him up. He's like, "Ooh, 19 over. We got him this time, boys." And he pulls him over. The driver's like, he asks the driver, license and registration. Driver says, don't have one. Does your passenger? No.
Your passenger's
like,
not, it doesn't matter. You're a victim, right? You're the passenger. It doesn't matter if the passenger has a license or not.
Well,
why does that make the press release?
Sometimes I've seen them, and I've seen it on live PD, and I've heard it happening where the cop's just kind of like, if the passenger has a license, then he'll just be like, all right, well, you bucko, you get in the driver's seat.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and he doesn't have one either. So the cop's like, all right, step out of the vehicle, and then he smells weed, right? Which is according to the press release. He smelled the essence of raw marijuanas.
Raw.
Yes, raw marijuana,
uncooked.
Not what's the name of it? Carbonized is the correct term for burnt, right?
Yeah,
carbonized is how they call burned marijuana or burned hash.
I've never
or something.
heard of it.
I've never participated. I can't.
I think that's right.
I can't.
I think it's right.
We'll roll with it though.
I think that if they find a bowl or a bong or something and there's like partially smoked weed in it, then they say possession of carbonized marijuana, which is a difference because it means
been used.
Yeah, you've probably partaken
at
soon.
some point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But anyway, he tells him to step out of the vehicle. He smells the raw marijuanas, and then he searches him, and all of a sudden, the rest of the stuff is just like, whoop,
no big deal,
gone.
No license, going 19 over,
and
you're okay.
And the second story,
got him on something even bigger now.
The second story is even more troubling, and somebody was pulled over, and this is truly possibly a Jacob Cerberus in the chat. I accidentally carbonized my potatoes.
He also said that we should declare sovereignty and secede from the union and then open up a mobile weed dispensary to sell to the tourists.
We're gonna install.
You can't do that here. This is Boss Hog of Liberty land.
This is a sovereign state. Colorado has weed tourism. Legitimately has weed
Your
tourism.
badge has no power here.
And these poor bastards that are passing through from Colorado on I-70, with Denver
We can get
goes
diplomatic
I-70 goes
plates.
straight to Denver to coming back home to Ohio, and this is what happens. They're 20 minutes from home, and then now they're sitting in the Henry County Jail.
They get lit up. Woo woo. Sorry, Bucko.
Almost made it. Sorry, you were so close to freedom, and now you're not. The other one is truly possibly a constitutional issue. People have raised this a number of times in the chat, or not in the chat, but in the
comment
section. The fellow was pulled over in.
Lady.
I'm sorry. The
lady.
yes, correct. The lady was pulled over
Fellow's pretty unisex.
for following too
It's
closely
like, dude.
in Henry County on I-70, close to the county line, close with Wayne County, and the canine officer, according to the police press release that was issued, came from Cambridge City, and they brought the dog out to smell because the driver, according to the press release, was acting nervously. And there's a 2015 Supreme Court decision that says you can't take any longer than a normal traffic stop. You can't add time on to bring a dog out to sniff because it's violating your Fourth Amendment right.
Right. But that
Which
seems
is
so
something that we
subjective.
really- So that's where
What is normal to that police officer? He says
that's where a defense attorney gets involved
50,
and says, okay,
50
well,
minutes is a normal.
how much
normal
time does
for my
it typically
stop.
take you? Which, and then you go and you subpoena logs and you really make an issue out of it. But they brought a canine officer in from another county. So it's
Right.
somewhat a neighboring town, but a defense attorney could very legitimately make the case saying, hey, you made my person wait longer than you should have for following too closely. You needed to let them go on their way. You had no reasonable suspicion to check the car. You called a dog in, you were fishing, and yeah, you found something, but the Fourth Amendment says you can't do that.
Yeah,
And the Supreme
Right.
Court says you can't do that. So there is a legitimate chance that this is going to get expensive for our prosecutor trying to fight this and prosecute something that's not prosecutable. So now the people of Henry County may be on the line for something that's not necessarily right either.
But also, it's just, you know what's going to happen is this is probably going to proceed into a plea deal. They're going to talk them into the plea deal. And the biggest problem about it is that all of these folks that work regularly as public defenders, defense attorneys within the county, and the judges and the prosecutors, they all work with each other on a regular basis. And it's super easy to get a reputation surrounding yourself as a judge, prosecutor, and especially a defense attorney. So if the prosecutor's office does offer a plea deal to this specific person, then the defense attorney, they run the risk of having a reputation of bringing something to the courts that the prosecutors, the judge, the rest of the county officials don't necessarily agree with, and they develop this reputation of just holding things up. You want to be a stick in the road and want
stick
to
in the
hold
mud.
up process. Well, I'm saying road because it's a bump in the road, right?
That'd be a speed bump.
Yeah.
Good.
So disappointing.
But I got
But I think that that's a fundamental flaw within our entire justice system that can happen, and I think it's especially true with like, imagine a young prosecutor or young defense attorney that's just starting to develop a name for themselves, and all of a sudden you develop the reputation of, oh, this is the guy
that's difficult.
that always tries to bring things to trial.
Yeah, but what we have to remember here is both of these, all three are from out of state. So what's to stop them from getting lawyers from out of state, as long as they're allowed to practice in the state of Indiana to come and
Well,
represent?
they can bring
them?
anybody in they
And
want
that's-
to.
and that's what I'm saying.
But are they
And they- and
going
they
to
can.
use a public defender,
Then
or are
that-
they going to go
well-
into their own pocket?
Well,
Right.
then that defense attorney doesn't have to worry at all what little.
Right. Well,
The
and that's
judge in
true,
Henry
but
County.
the problem is if they can't afford it.
Yeah.
And if they can't, then the
They have to
defense
look-
attorney, and I think I'm correct on this, tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the defense attorney is appointed by a judge
Can be.
So
If you don't dig into your own pocket, a public defender.
If you have a public
there's
defender,
a public
then
defender's office.
that public defender,
There's a pool of public defenders.
right? But the one that's picked, the public defender that is picked, is selected by a judge, correct?
I don't think so. I
don't
think
know
it
if
goes
that's the case.
to. I think it goes to the public defender's
Or is it just on a
office,
rotation?
and then
Yeah.
probably whoever's up on the
Okay.
totem pole, or if somebody specializes in
At least
like
we have that
traffic
going for
stops
us.
or
I know that in Ohio it's different. In specifically Cleveland, then the judges select the public defender, and they're trying. There's a movement over there right now to try to fix that issue because they're saying if public defenders develop this reputation of being troublesome and taking things to trial, then all of a sudden they get less work and they can't make as much money. So there's an incentive there to just kind of go with the flow and accept plea deals for even things that their clients should never plead guilty to.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to hear that we don't have that here.
well, I can't be 100% sure, but that's common sense would tell me that's how it should work.
Right, you would think so, but then I just read this article about Cleveland yesterday, and I was blown away by it.
I will say about the second stop that troubles me is so following too closely. I'm sure we've all followed somebody too closely. Now, acting nervous? I don't know about you guys, but whenever I get pulled over, my heart kind of just goes pitter patter, even though I know I did nothing wrong, or maybe I was speeding. Nothing that's you're going to jail for, but just
No victim. Right?
yeah, just pitter patter, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and then my voice gets a little squirrely sometimes, and so does that warrant a search of my vehicle? Because
In the mind of a tyrant, it does.
because
Yes.
I'm pretty sure what's going to happen is I'm just going to roll up my windows, lock my door, and put my key in my pocket. And if he asks me to get out of the car, and so then he's not going to get into my vehicle
Well, you know what? I say you just drive away.
until I get
And-
until I get a hold of my lawyer.
I say you drive away.
Sean.
And whenever a police chase happens, inevitably, then you pull over into a very public location, like a Walmart parking lot
Yes.
or a truck stop parking lot.
You should text
And
Dakota and we'll
whenever-
set up the live stream, though.
Whenever people freak out,
We're in this
whenever
for the
they
clicks.
freak out on you, you tell them that there was a strange man with a gun and he was yelling at you and telling you to get out of your car. You didn't know why. And all of a sudden he had a weapon and you were unarmed, but you were in a car, so you knew you could outrun him.
Yep.
That's what,
I don't
that's
know,
all a
I don't know
cop
if that's
is.
the right thing to do.
That's
but-
all a cop is a stranger with a gun that thinks that they have more authority than you do as an individual. That's really all it comes down to.
I don't want to. I think the law needs to be changed so we don't put the cops in these positions. That's what I've said for months and months and months on this show is that we have stupid laws where the rubber meets the
I
road
agree.
with law enforcement.
I think we force
and
our
we put
police
them in
into
terrible positions,
Yeah.
and then they get judged. The metrics are how many people did you catch for this, and that's ridiculous.
Well, and something else is
It's not fair.
if it was
It's
any
not fair
one
to
of us,
them, and you're putting them in a violent situation.
You're putting
over and
you're
over
putting
and
the
over.
police in a violent situation. You're putting the public into a violent situation. It's not good for anyone, and that the responsibility of any bad things that happen to any individual, police or citizen, falls on the shoulders of every single person that sits in the Indiana General Assembly every year.
Bill Levin announced that he's
It
running
is
for
your
governor of
fault.
Indiana as a libertarian. He's the first candidate to announce that. In his press release, he did talk about cannabis. He doesn't want to use marijuana because he thinks that's a term that it's a moniker people put on it. So he calls it cannabis, and he says everybody loves cannabis. Cannabis is fine. We need to legalize cannabis. We can all agree that we don't like poison ivy. If we're going to outlaw plants, let's outlaw poison ivy, and let's send the task force out to go confiscate and burn poison ivy.
Nobody likes that stuff.
So anyway,
Kate said
we'll see. We'll
a traffic
monitor.
stop shouldn't make anyone feel nervous or unsafe. Maybe that's a problem itself. I feel extremely nervous and scared, legitimately scared whenever I get pulled over.
yeah, I don't.
I've-
I wouldn't say
Well,
scared,
stop
but
breaking
nervous.
the law. You
I've
feel
told
so
this
bad.
story before where I had a taser pulled on me whenever I was 16, and I get scared. I get very, very visibly nervous, and I have to try to take control of the situation myself, and that's why I say as little as possible to the police whenever they come up to my window. It's my little way of exerting control over the situation, and it helps me feel better.
Yeah. Well, Something else about this traffic stop that led to this arrest was if she would have had an Indiana license plate, she would have just been sent on her way. Absolutely. Absolutely been sent on her way. You don't think so?
I don't know. Yeah, it is interesting that they're all out of state. They're coming from states that potentially are being profiled because they're legalized. They're legal states, and they're potentially being encouraged to look for issues.
I mean, just think about it. Anytime that you're driving along the highway and you see a license plate from Colorado, don't you immediately think, bet that guy's got weed?
Yeah.
I do.
Let's get that guy.
I do. I'm like, bet that guy has weed in his car right now. I always think that. I'd be a terrible cop because I would never pull that guy over. And if I ever pulled someone over that had weed, I probably wouldn't even pull people over to begin with.
Mark
I don't even think
Armstrong-
that cops should be pulling people over. I think they should, like I said last week, should operate like fire departments.
Are you familiar with comedian Mike Armstrong? He was a Louisville cop. He used to be on the
Nope.
Bob and Tom
Don't know
show
who that is.
back in the day. Very funny guy. He was a cop before he was a police officer, and he has bits just about this. I strongly encourage you guys to go look up Mike Armstrong on the YouTubes or listen to some old Bob and Tom stuff to check Dear Leaders support Dear Leaders Day Job. All right, this is you guys know Boss Hog of Liberty. We transition gratefully, so we will gracefully talk about freedom and independence.
That's right.
How much liberty do you have in your life, everybody?
July 4th is the day that 3% of Americans came together and said, you know what? We aren't going to stand for it anymore. And they started shooting the people that were enforcing unjust laws. And that's the day we celebrate. And they did it with military-style weapons, just like we should be able to have here. And I think it's great. I think that 1776 will commence again.
Or are you calling for Thomas Jefferson, the blood of liberty?
That was all like I tried to do that in like a very calm but Alex Jones style rant, and I hope that you all appreciated the comedy in that.
Jerry Williams is in the chat, and I don't know if she's on the boomers thing right now or if her keyboard just stuck, but she just commented in a way that makes me think she's in the boomer group. I don't know what just happened. I don't know. I just don't know.
Maybe we'll get it later.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll try again.
Mentioning Jerry, we will mention that her sister was in a terrible accident out at the park, and she's been undergoing several surgeries.
She's on the mend, is what I've been hearing.
Yep. She's been having surgeries, and I don't know how today's. I believe she had one today. That's what Jerry was saying. But
good. Hoping Faye gets back. Gets back as soon as she can. So
now,
what?
Boom.
This is to me, Independence Day is a milestone in the calendar, just like Memorial Day, Christmas. It's a mile marker, and sometimes we're in the rat race and we don't really pay attention, or we don't take stock like we should. It's a day off work, and that's just the way we treat it. And damn it, it's on a Thursday, and you got to go back to work on Friday. It's stupid unless you burnt a vacation day. So we don't really stop and say, okay, we're celebrating the fact that a bunch of people committed treason and wrote the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776, and said, we're out. It's over.
They said
they wrote their death
our
warrants.
own people.
We are, you can leave us alone. We're out. It's done. We're over it. Give me freedom. And they earned it. They fought for it. They made it happen. A little bit of French help and a lot of good luck and a lot of tenacity and American spirit. And Lexington and Concord happened, and we ran them off.
That's why we're all crazy now, right? Do you think that's why we're all Americans are kind of nuts?
What?
I mean,
Americans and Australians are the two craziest nations in the country.
Well, I think Americans are kind of crazy because originally from the very first people that ever came over here, think about how crazy it was. They took their children and they hopped on slabs of wood. And
it's not Cuba. They weren't slabs of wood. They were boats.
These were
made out of
well-defined
slabs of
boats.
wood that had they had no motors, and they traveled weeks across the open ocean.
Yep.
To go to a land that they had never even seen pictures of.
That had
because there
nothingness.
weren't any.
Because they wanted freedom.
There could have been
And the only
drawings.
navigation that they had was because some guy went there before and drew a picture of it with a feather.
and ink. Don't forget.
Think about how crazy that is. That's us. That's all of us. And that's even the immigrants that are coming over now. They're making this crazy, crazy life-altering decision to go, you know what? My life sucks now, and I'm going to try to make it better, and I'm going to risk life and limb to do it. And they come over here, and that's the American spirit. That's why we're nuts. That's why we're wild.
Well,
that's why we enjoy fireworks, and we don't care if we blow our thumbs off with an M80 firework.
What are you, a New York
Just
Giants
crazy.
lineman?
Yeah,
Holy crap! Did he get that
actually
reference?
got that reference.
Whoa.
I was shocked.
I surprised myself.
Jason Pierre-Paul in the house, everybody. JPP. So, rest in peace, Jarrett Lorenzen, by the way, former NFL quarterback. He gone.
He gone.
38 years old today. The 500-pound quarterback.
I want
has
to
passed away.
separate my monologue about what makes Americans crazy and like make that a YouTube clip over some trumpets playing with me speaking about it with a American flag waving superimposed on my face.
Donald Trump in the background.
Good.
Jacob Serber is watching. He says, by the way, the American Spirit is also a cigarette brand. And trust me, Dakota and I are very, very, very familiar on occasion with the black.
Not me.
Used
Not
to
according
be-
to my insurance
Used
company.
to be on occasion with the black version of that carton on bachelor
not within the
parties.
past year.
But not
12
recently.
months, according to my insurance company.
On Dakota's bachelor party only. That is something that we
All right, well.
we were familiar with. Yes,
That was over 12 months ago.
yes. You've
We're
been married
on.
a long time, old man.
Honest folks, about 2 years.
All your liberty.
Getting there.
Anyway, I've just reattached my my arm and probably unplugged Dakota as we're going. So yeah, these guys signed their treasonous death warrant for total freedom. They got it, and then over the last 200 and some years, we've had an imperfect society. We've made some improvements. We've made things worse. I'm not real happy with our Fourth Amendment and your right to privacy or your constitutional amendments being protected in that way. We've also made some other progress. This week, Nike has announced and then immediately rolled back some shoes because Colin Kaepernick got mad about the Betsy Ross 1776 American flag because
But that's a weird situation because
other people have reappropriated it as something wrong.
it wasn't really that. It was just they approached Colin Kaepernick about shoes that they were thinking about launching with the design. And apparently he said some people might take offense to this because of the era that is associated with that flag, as well as there are white supremacists that have co-opted the flag in their rallies. And Nike said, oh, well, if that's the case, we're not going to make these shoes so as to not try to offend portions of our customer base. And then news outlets got a hold of the story and said Nike is pulling the shoes because they hate American flags and Colin Kaepernick kneels for the national anthem. And now we've started freaking out about it. When in reality, Nike decided to make a conscientious. I can't say it right now. They decided to make a business decision based on the fact that a person that they had asked for advice from told them not to. And that's all it comes down to. But it only got publicized because of Nike's controversial
If we're
opinions
having
in
the
past.
conversation over the Betsy Ross flag, the 13 stripes in a circle, the 13 stars in a circle from the original 13 colonies that flew when we became a nation, I think we probably ought to stop for a minute or two and say, okay, you can't let perfect get in the way of good enough.
Right.
This country,
this
country wouldn't have existed. So slavery was the issue. That was that's the concern,
Yeah.
and that's what he's mad about. And it's it was only 3/5 of a person, yada yada yada, right? Which we all understand that American history, but if they hadn't made that compromise at that time, the country would have never existed. And 100 years later, blood was spilled, and things were right. And we have the 13th and 14th Amendments of the Constitution, a Constitution that was created in the late 1700s that allowed for amendment that was put in place so that they could fix that later. And now we've continued to make strides. So yeah, we screwed some stuff up in the beginning, or it wasn't perfect, but it was the art of the possible at the time. And here we are in a time where we're working more and more and more on equality, where we have a country where we started with this idea of liberty, and we've been able to pass it on to women. We've been able to pass it on to people who are considered to be property. We've been able to pass it on to anybody that loves anybody. All of those things are now possible. It's getting, if you look at the direction that this country has gone, that's all looking at the positive, and they're almost entirely all universal, other than the 2 or 3% of people that will just never be solved or reached. We're there. And that's something to be celebrated. And that's from that kernel that was planted in 1776. So that's a big part of Independence Day.
Right.
Something to consider. It's not just the day you get to cook your hot dogs.
But I don't think that it's actually an issue. I don't think that there's huge masses of people out there.
No, it's a clickbait world.
Yeah, they go, the Betsy Ross flags is racist. I don't think that that's true at all. I do think that Colin Kaepernick looked at it with a totally different perspective, because he's been engrossed in this world of
whether he wanted to or not. He spent the last 3 years becoming a subject matter expert on all things race related.
Right, exactly.
It's become all encompassing, right?
Which is why it would make sense for Nike to go, do you see anything wrong with this? As a business, are you looking decision.
At it to say, okay, can you find anything wrong with it? Because if we look at you got to carry a Daredevil right now. Well, is there anything we can say? What's West Coast mean? Is West Coast going to be offensive?
It says devil on it.
It says devil.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's all stupid.
Should beards be illegal?
It's all ridiculous.
They can give you lice. They can spread. It's dangerous.
But I really don't. I really don't think it was a bad move by Nike to at least ask for his opinion. Do I think that he was wrong? Yeah. I really don't think that they would have seen any backlash from the shoes, namely because the shoes were pretty ugly to begin with. So I'm not sure a lot of people would have bought them. But they asked for the guy's opinion, he gave it to him, and they decided to listen. And that's all it was. And because all of a sudden we have this outrage culture on the left and the right,
if you were already boycotting Nike,
took it and ran.
Are you boycotting Nike even more?
I'm boycotting them double. Before I just went and buying the shoes. Now I'm not going to buy their sweatbands and T-shirts.
Now I'm not. I quit buying them at the retail store, but now I'm going to quit going to the outlet too. I'm not going to buy them at any price. What? Yep. What are you going to do? This is stupid.
I do that Southern accent whenever I say stuff like that. But,
you try to be Brent Terhune.
Well, one time whenever I was in high school, I did speech and debate competition. And there was a girl on our team who had this monologue piece. And every time that she would switch to a character that was stupid in any way, she would use a Southern accent.
Did she have this Ken Burns Civil War music and she'd push play and play in the background?
The judge of that competition had a Southern accent and was very offended and berated her.
Was she your was it debate where it was your team? Was it your teammate?
No. These were monologue pieces, and she had to switch between characters within the monologue.
Yeah,
and the dumb character would always have a Southern accent, and the judge became very upset.
Let's hear your best accent right now. Best.
A hing-a-ding-a-durgan. I'm from Norway.
Jared, what you got?
I got nothing, man.
You don't have.
If I go to Chicago, I get a Chicago accent.
Yeah, I'm
Dakota has fun.
Like 2 weeks before a Chicago trip, Jeremiah
I will
starts
blend into
going
it.
Chicago.
I'm the same way. I pick up accents where I go. So
I will do it on the phone with somebody from the South because I'm a salesman. I will be a good old boy from Western Tennessee or Kentucky if I'm.
You adopt. You're like, I'm going to fit in.
It's a learned dialect.
Now, my dad
in sales, you become a chameleon, my friend.
My father, he adopts a Southern accent. If he's
as soon as you go south of 40.
No,
when y'all lived in Dunreath,
not if he's not if he's talking to a person with a Southern accent. Whenever he wants the person that he is talking to see him as more of a
vulnerable.
No, as more of a more masculine figure. So
are you saying your father's not always 100% masculine?
No,
Jeff's never been anything but masculine to me.
Pretty much the manliest guy I know, but whenever he's talking to another man, at like a hardware store, for example. He'll adopt like a very, very slight Southern tang. And
In the Ace Hardware, he's like an Antebellum South Southern belle.
no, not like Ace Hardware. Come on, man. I told you that he was a man's man.
In the Gilmans.
Men's men do not go to freaking Ace Hardware. They seek out. You know, there's like a radar where
I
you
need to buy some lavender paint for my wife.
you seek out like the mom and pop hardware stores like the Dudleys and Spice.
Oh, man.
Where it's an old man behind the counter and he's seen and he's done everything in every single profession in his entire life and just decided to open a hardware store. Then you go up to him and you go, yeah, I'd like to, I think, you know, my boy and I over here, we're working on a retaining wall. And that's kind of how he does. It's like very slight, but it also seems like, I don't know. It's more of like a Jeff Sessions type of Southern accent, like Southern gentleman type accent.
Back to marijuana prohibition, Jeff Sessions. Man. Oh man! All right.
It's very interesting. Language is weird. I had a friend from Chicago one time tell me that I had a definite Southern accent, and I thought, wow, that's weird.
Yeah.
Now every time I think about it, I listen to my voice while I'm talking.
When I go back to Messina, I go, "Oh my God, I had no idea I spoke like that." It's hilarious. My mom used to say when I was a little kid I had a Massachusetts accent, and I didn't. I had a Messina accent.
Well,
They're very similar, but you know, I go back to Messina and I hear it from the locals, or somebody will come here and visit me. And cousin Mark, I don't know if Mark and Wendy, if you're still watching, but you guys have the Messina accent.
The Messina accent.
The Messina accent. At least Mark does. Wendy, not so much. But
I want to know
cousin
what
Mark
that
more.
sounds like.
Sounds like a New York Boston accent. It's wicked fun. Man.
Boston. No, I ain't got one. I ain't got one, man.
Jacob Serber called you a sociopath. He said, in sales and politics, you learn to be a chameleon, so sociopaths are born with this ability and should seek sales and political positions.
Congratulations, Jeremiah.
Jeremiah has done both.
He sought both.
I am not a successful politician. I have a dude that's offered myself up for office. I have yet to win anything.
And then he called me triggered. Maybe.
A little bit. Guffey, you enlisted. You fought for our freedom, or you at least served in the armed forces.
That is correct.
What's Independence Day mean to you? It's not Memorial Day. It's not Veterans Day. It's different.
Yeah.
It's independence from Britain. What's your view? What's
Means
your
I
take?
don't care about rural weddings. Yeehaw, America.
Surprisingly, I do care about royal weddings. No, I do care about royal weddings for some reason. It's just
Because
a
that
weird,
Meghan Markle,
You like
right?
the
dog.
the pageantry.
Just Megan. That's it. But no, really, it's just a chance to spend time with your friends and family. Obviously, it's what all holidays are. Typically, July 4th is really the one day out of the year where I like to drink.
Oh, this is going to be your day?
Yeah,
But you can't drink this year. You're politicking.
Yeah, I'm going to be politicking, but I will be. I'm leaving early. I'm leaving at like 2 or 3.
You're not staying for the fireworks?
Probably not, because I don't want to be out there in that mess. I mean, it's a great show, and you know, Memorial Park always puts on a great show for us.
I will be out of town this
citizens.
time. I've enjoyed it the last few years, but I actually got to see the fireworks at Putnamville Speedway last weekend with my the in-laws, the Potter family.
Sarah and her little redneck heart.
Sarah and her little redneck heart. Exactly. She was very happy.
But no, 4th of July is typically when I decide to drink. Otherwise, I don't abstain from drinking the rest of the year, but I don't drink heavily.
So this is going to be an intense day for you.
Probably. I'm nothing serious. Just probably some
Rum and Coke, mojitos,
Long Island's probably.
Ooh, you just every bit of alcohol you have, you pour into one glass.
Beer probably.
Yeah. You drinking with old army friends? You're gonna hang out at home? What are you gonna do?
Typically, it's just fly by the seat there. Let people know. Cade saying
You're not having a meetup?
Nah. I will say that July, what was it, 2 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago when I was on vacation, I got news that a guy that I deployed with had killed himself. But so I might go over to Indy and see if anybody else wants to go over there and meet up maybe that way. Because it is a long weekend for me. I took Friday off, so Get that nice 4-day bereavement from work.
Bereavement?
Bereavement.
Break.
Fine.
Work didn't die. It'll still be there Monday.
Yeah, it did.
Cade
For 4
says,
days.
Cade says July 4th is for cutting wheat, baling, and wrapping straw, and planting double crop beans. Basically, Cade's not a fake farmer on the 4th of July.
No, he's a real farmer.
I had
That's the only day of the year.
I've had so much locally produced food this last week. It's been unreal.
I'm not allowed on the property.
I had L&K ground beef last night, L&K green beans.
I've asked you to bring me
I had
stuff.
some L&K squash today for lunch.
He's officially banned me from all.
I had
L&K
Farmer Brad
property.
chicken tonight. It's been good for the local food. Have you been partaking in some of the local stuff, or are you just buying whatever the hell you can get at Walmart? Do you even know where your food comes from, Davis?
Yeah. Like Lee's chicken.
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Buffalo Wild Wings, chicken.
No, I've had the beef. I've eaten a lot of. I'm sorry, Cade, but sometimes I go and buy venison from the Knightstown Meat Locker. We're venison folks.
Oh,
So
Very lean.
yeah. I'm sorry,
If you were a
Cade.
better friend with Cade, he'd give you some meat like he gives me. Every time he kills
I've-
a deer,
I've
I
had-
get some packages from him. You don't
I
get,
really enjoy.
you don't get the Cade packages?
I
I
really
don't.
enjoy the L&K beef. I've had it a lot. We do a lot of grilling out this time of the year. I like to
everybody
I like
does,
to grill. Like to use my smoker. Been looking into like the Rectech wood pellet grills and things that connect to your Wi-Fi, so I can be like Jeremiah and have 30 things connected
Hey Google,
to my home.
turn my smoker up 4 degrees.
that's crazy.
I need to turn that back off.
Dakota's phone just went off again.
Oh,
I think
no.
that this happened. I talked a few weeks ago about having my Google Voice turned off. I just got a new job offer on Indeed.
Unsolicited, of course.
But I think that happened. I think it turned back on whenever I reset my phone because I was trying to figure out why I couldn't comment.
Why your Facebook
on
wasn't
Facebook.
working?
It's because of these stupid people in Facebook groups.
All right.
God.
Well, this has been interesting. Talking about Independence Day. Is there anything else on the Independence Day topic that we need to work through, or does that get it all off your chest?
I think there's a lot to work through with Independence Day. It's just a really cool holiday. I think
It's obviously uniquely American.
I just think the cultural significance of a group of men who decided to meet and say that they were done and they were going to be free people is such a significant event in not just American history but world history. It's happened all over the world in different scenarios, but I think that
we did it the best.
we did it the best, but we also faced giant odds and a giant stack that was against us. Like we said, 3% of the people at the time of the signing of the Declaration of Independence were against freedom, or were for freedom from Great Britain, and that quickly turned as time went on in just the span of a year. Over half of the people. I think there were 2.5 million people that were living in the original 13 colonies by the end of the Revolutionary War. And 2.5 million or 250,000. 250,000. I can't remember. Either way, over half of the people by the end of the first year of the signing of the Declaration of Independence were for the freedom to be their own sovereign nation. It's really cool. It's a really, really neat thing.
Yeah. So, I do have something to mention about the July 4th.
You missed your chance, sir.
No, I didn't. I'm bringing it back. It's okay. Did you guys see the picture of Alex Morgan? I believe's her name.
Yeah, that was awesome. Sipping the tea.
Yep.
Yeah, yep. Just another tea party is a caption that I saw attached to that image.
That's so amazing. It's
Really cool.
This is the soccer player.
Yeah. The U.S. women's national team.
Pretend like our folks don't listen to sports
Oh,
or know what sports we're talking about. The Americans have been playing soccer and have been doing
in
quite,
the
women
World Cup. Yep.
have been doing quite well.
Yes. So the U.S. women's national team for soccer has been playing in the World Cup and has been crushing it.
Why do they play those games during the American workday? It's kind of BS, isn't it?
Well, we don't decide
We're at
that.
our jobs.
We don't decide that. It's a World Cup.
We're
so-
America. We're the superpower. They should play it when we say to play it.
Yeah, that's not how it happens. So anyways, the U.S. has just been
2.5 million. I was right.
way to go.
Nice.
2.5 million what?
People,
That was the population of the United States in 1776.
What was the English population in 1776?
I have no idea.
so
I
anyway,
don't care.
anyways, let's get back
They
to
signed that document, and I didn't have to care anymore.
Once that document came out, I didn't care. But no,
I read a great book in high school. I was a nerd in high school, and I did history academic team, and we had to read a book called the Great Cause, and it was huge. It's a humongous book, but
6
it's
million.
all
6 million.
really.
There were 6 million Brits.
Look at that. They had us beat almost 3 times over.
They had all of Britain had less people than the state of Indiana does right now.
What the saying
1776.
of the world was wherever the sun touches. The British Empire is wherever the sun touches at the time because they had grown so large,
Imperialists.
and we went, piss off.
yeah,
It's really cool. July 4th is one of my favorite holidays just because of the historical significance of it. Christmas is also it has a lot of historical significance, but I think it's been dumbed down. But also, there's no actual historical significance of December 25th and the reason that we celebrate Christmas.
Yeah,
so that kind of takes away from it.
Thanksgiving is one of my favorites. Memorial Day as well, but Thanksgiving is probably my favorite.
Just because of spending time with family.
It's a time to take stock and be thankful. That's why it's the all-time winner. But Memorial Day is big too, particularly in Indiana. But remembrance and saying thank you and everything else that goes along with it. It's Memorial Day is a big deal.
I just like
So,
when people realize that there's a difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day.
Thank you for your service
Pretty significant
on Veterans Day.
service.
On
on Memorial Day. You made it.
Yeah, Memorial Day.
Memorial Day is for the people who have fallen.
It angers me when people thank me for my service on Memorial Day. Legitimately angers me. Like I have to.
You should thank me for my service every day except for Memorial Day.
No,
364 days of the year, it's fine. Memorial Day, just don't do it.
I do not expect anyone to thank me for my service. I do not. I don't. And I hate when people do that. Like they just, I served. You should worship the ground I work on. No,
You don't wear the hats.
that's not.
Do you ever
what
see
it's
yourself
for.
being the guy that wears the hat?
No,
I think it's a difference of personality, and I also
I think it's personality for sure.
yeah.
And age, your generation as
Yeah.
well. But I think personality.
I think that age also has a big part to play in it because of the way that your mind disconnects from things as time goes on, and it kind of moves. Time keeps marching on, as the great song says.
We're going to
And-
need you to cue that up.
Yeah.
Tracy.
But
it's a Tracy song.
I
Tracy
think that
Lawrence.
once you reach 40 years from now, you're
South
going to
moves
have
north, north
you're going
moves
to have
south.
a totally different outlook on
Sure.
your time in the military than what you do now, because the way that our memory works, the way that our entire mind works, it changes it so much.
yeah, but I hope.
So I think that kind of plays into the generational difference.
Yeah, but I hope that I never become that guy. The guy that's going to Applebee's on Veterans Day and getting their meal.
Well, I think that the expectant, being
you owe me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
The
no.
you owe me is totally just purely personality type differences.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Those people,
You're on
the
a
people
fixed
who,
income, man. You got to save a nickel anywhere you can.
the
Well, then
people
don't be going
that,
out.
that believe that you owe them, they believed that you owed them before their military service. I think.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
Welcome to Happy Times on Boss Hog of Liberty
Yes.
podcast. Jeremiah Morrell, Dakota Davis, Chris Guffey. We are transitioning now into final thoughts. Chris,
Oh, it's me. Okay.
you Sir, get to go first.
Okay.
What
so
you got in your back pocket over there?
I've got two things. I was trying to get to that notepad earlier, but unfortunately I don't need it now.
You
'cause
wrote
I
it
have-
on the back of our
Put it on
coaster.
the coaster.
the back of the coaster is
Have you ever raised your hand and asked for help? Is that in your DNA?
nope. So first thing is Daniel Hemrick,
The NASCAR driver.
the NASCAR driver,
Sprint Cup.
will
Not
be
Sprint Cup.
at.
Winston Cup.
We'll be at our local-
Monster Cup. Monster Energy.
Nobody cares. Listen, okay. This is my time.
The Grand National Series.
This is my
driver,
time.
Daniel
You got your
Hemrick,
time.
Driver of the number 8 Chevrolet.
Yeah, he will be at our local Stacks. From what I appear, July 14th, 11 to 11:30. Eli, I'm not even going to attempt to announce his last name.
Eli, the owner.
I'm going to call him Big Greek.
Gaffoganus.
Yep, not doing it.
That's it exactly.
Big Greek.
I saw him today at the barbershop.
So he will be there July 14th, 11 to 11:30. Me and Lisa Catron will be at the Memorial Park. We have a booth set up. We'll be there from like 9. I think Lisa's staying till 5. I'll be there till like 2. We've got some Frisbees to hand out, some little matches so you guys don't have to use lighters to light off. Just
Nextel Cup. Is he a Nextel Cup Series driver?
don't care. I don't care about left turns.
Okay.
So
Ouch.
So
Sorry.
you're going to sell matches to kids?
No, we're
at
giving
your
them away.
Promotional event? Is that what you're doing?
Nope.
Free matches for kids. Free.
the kids, not the kids. I don't think we'll pass them out to kids. But so we got that.
Bring your photo ID. Get a free set of matches from Chris Guffey for City Council.
We'll be there 9 to 5 at least because we can't break down until 5. So, but I think I'm gonna bounce early and Lisa's going to stay the whole time.
You're going to cut out.
Yeah, because
Got to get to that day drinking.
yeah, her and her husband are going to be there anyways
The
for
incredible Tony Catron.
yes, the trophy husband. We'll be there to barbecue and hang out with family anyways. So that's all I think I've got.
Very cool. Well, we wish you nothing but the best in that endeavor.
Oh, I'm sponsoring. Me and Lisa are also sponsoring a porta-john.
You've got a toilet.
Yep. So if
You have half of a toilet. Do you think you have the urinal and she's got the throne? Do you think that's the way it's going to go down? Or how will the signage work?
It's got to be.
The Chris Guffey
Gotta be
urinal?
it.
I have no clue
Will you get a selfie with it for us and post it?
My
for the Patreon group.
Just for the Patreon people.
Just for the Patreon people, I will take a picture with my
my
porta-john.
prediction is that the longest line for the porta-john will be your porta-john.
I hope so. Famous.
Just so they can go, I went pee in Chris Guffey's porta-john.
yeah.
The Guffey, a Guffey porta potty that's a big deal.
It is.
You have arrived
Yep.
in Newcastle hierarchy. If you've had a porta john named after you,
I swear you have.
you Albany, Kentucky folk, you
Yeah.
are proud.
We are. We're proud of that there porta-john.
You're from Clinton County,
We are, and that is a dry county. Can you believe that? You got to go across the border down to there.
down
to
in
that
Tennessee,
You got to go to Tennessee, that Birdstown, to get
6 miles south.
any kind of alcohol, and then you got to bring it back. And guess what? That's bootlegging.
Yeah, you're a rum runner now.
I can't do that.
There's accents for you, Dakota.
A hing-a-ding-a-durgan.
Ring-a-ding-a-dungan. I am from Holland.
Oh my gosh, Christy.
Zach,
Christy
I don't know.
wants a picture of the sponsor porta john. Zach wants to know if you're hanging a sign on it or if are you gonna have a wrap? Do you bring it to like don't drive naked and you're having it wrapped?
No. Here's the plan.
I have no real quick
Spray paint.
No, I have no clue. All that happened was yesterday. I went to lunch and I go, all right, Landon. Here's my sign. Here's Lisa's sign. Here's the check. Do what you do, buddy.
Lisa had this idea.
Lisa did. Lisa brought this idea up and said,
Lisa had an idea of making a little bit of a scavenger hunt where you go to the booth and you give your information voluntarily and you partake in a scavenger hunt where you try to find the face of Chris Guffey and Lisa Catron. And we were going to put their faces on the porta-john. So there might be faces. We might have to stick Chris Guffey's inside of the urinal.
"Oh, are you going to Jane Fonda me? Is that what's happening?" That's a Vietnam Vets reference in case you didn't know.
I got it. They did the same thing with
CNN is fake
Osama
news.
bin Laden at the Newcastle Fire Department when I was a kid. Taped a picture of
So
bin
Zach-
Laden in the urinal. And
So
you
Zach,
peed
the
on
sign
his
will be,
face.
I'm assuming, just somewhere around because I gave him.
You should print out a glossy and just throw it in the urinal, like in the if everybody pisses on it.
It'd be hilarious.
That is a terrible idea.
So funny. You're looking down anyway.
Zach Bertram says you need a sign on the back of the door that says "Feel better? Thank Chris Guffey and Lisa Catron for this moment of relief." Paid for by Catron and Guffey.
Yeah. And so
That's good.
Good stuff. All right. Well, people can look for you if they see you out there at the fair. Get a picture with Guffey. Hashtag Boss Hog of Liberty or tag us on the old Facebook and we'll share it.
yeah.
If you do that, we'll share it, and you may become insta famous because we've had 20,000 impressions on a couple of them the last couple of days.
Oh God, Guffey's face on the underside of the toilet seat. You open up.
You just fold it up and it's just Guffey with 2 thumbs up.
Hope it comes out okay.
We're all cheering for you.
That's hilarious.
All right, Dakota, what you got for final thoughts? You got Chase's bugs are still in here.
Yeah.
He hasn't been in the studio for a month, and his damn fruit flies are still here.
There's much less of them now. Maybe these ones are the leftovers from last week. I don't have much final thoughts. I guess
Well, that was brief. Thank you.
didn't really think it through. I hope that you take the lessons of internet etiquette. Sorry.
Yeet.
Yeet.
Yeet, yeet, yang, yang.
I hope that you take them to heart because they are very serious issues, and sometimes the consequence of your action is getting someone banned. My final thoughts.
I do want to claim victory in the Boomer group over Chris Spangle. I got him thrown out. I won. He lost. That was cool. Jarrett Lorenzen did pass away. He was a UK quarterback. We were talking about Kentucky stuff a minute ago. 38 years old. He was known for being the big guy. Dakota, we're still talking here. You're stopping the video and we're still going. Come on, man.
He's
Worried. It froze up.
Oh man.
The video froze and nobody knows why.
What?
We don't know what happened to Jared Lorenzen.
Oh, I had another question.
He passed away, and then there was another sports death this week. 27-year-old pitcher for the Angels.
Overdose, right? No. He was found.
He's found dead, and they don't know what happened.
At the hotel, yeah.
Died yesterday or the day before for the Anaheim or California Angels, or the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Yep.
So read those into the record. Don't know what happened.
We will find out.
Watch the presidential debates.
Number two.
We covered number 1 pretty heavily last week. There were some real difficulties for Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris was accusing him of some busing stuff going back to the 70s.
Sure
it was
was.
very nuanced, and he did not come away well. That didn't.
Who do you think won right now? Who won it?
It sounds like people thought Harris did very well.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. That's what I was getting. I ended up. I didn't.
And then there's
an
an author that I'm not familiar with that's also that also ran is running, who did well.
Andrew Yang only got 3 minutes of.
That's all he got to talk.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
I've yet
3
to
minutes.
see a Yang highlight out of any of it.
Well, I mean, when you only get 3 minutes out of a 120-minute conversation, I mean, hi, my name's Andrew Yang.
Yeah,
that's it.
The whole way that they were structured was kind of BS. And Yang, Marianne Williamson, the crystal lady.
Mm-hmm.
She is
Facebook's had a bad day, and our video has crashed here at the end of the show. So
did you hear
that? Pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. Did you listen to her comment about where she was going to call
She said that
the Prime Minister of New Zealand?
Yeah.
Yeah. And said something along the line like New Zealand's going to be the best place. And she said, I'm going to call her up and I'm going to be like, listen here, girl. You got your hands busy now.
But she also, after the debate, she made a tweet that said, I've enjoyed all of the funny memes that have come out about me. But on a serious note, there are many times that I tried to interject into the conversation that was happening and my mic was muted.
Yeah, Andrew Yang had the same problem. Basically, night one and 2. If you weren't a spotlight, you didn't. I mean, you had to fight.
The media picked their front runners, and that's who they were going to focus on.
Yep. Yeah. So it doesn't allow for open discussion. I'll put this out right now. If any one of these presidential candidates want to come on to the Boss Hog of Liberty, we will host you.
You must come in studio though.
Yeah, either
we might have to reach out to Andrew Yang again.
we may, depending on, we may be able to work in a phone interview.
If they use a payphone and they put enough quarters in.
Yep, you got to use a payphone, and I got to hear the quarters clink.
We'll see.
I
It's
want
gonna
their
sound like
personal phone number.
2 coins in a jelly jar. just
That way,
like,
whenever Pete Buttigieg is president, I have his cell phone number.
You know
And
you
call
ain't
him up and
getting
be
that.
like,
You're gonna
"Hey
get the
yo,
assistant.
Pete."
And Andy Farmer, Funny Farm. Did you ever watch Funny Farm? Remember that movie?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you ever watch Funny Farm? Guffey, Dakota,
Nope.
Nope.
Dakota, Cade. You ever watch it? No.
Nope.
Chase,
Chase, no.
Danny.
Danny, no. Mason,
Danny, who's that?
I don't even remember this anymore. Danny got tossed out of the Boomer Group for saying stuff that was questionable today. It was hilarious. Or he got a post deleted.
Oh,
Questionable. It was racist.
It was a Bill Cosby joke. He told one Bill Cosby joke and got tossed. All
Hey.
right. That's enough of this. We will be back on Thursday of next week. We appreciate you guys very much for sticking with us. It's been fun. Thank you, Farmer Brad, and we will see you on Thursday night.
Thank you for listening to the Boss Hog of Liberty, which is part of the We Are Libertarians Network. I am Chris Spangle, and I am the founder of this network, and I invite you to listen to all of our shows, which you can find at WeAreLibertarians.com or by searching for these in your podcatcher. The flagship show is the We Are Libertarians podcast, where we apply libertarian principles to current events. The Brian Nichols Show is a conversation amongst Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Independents, as they talk about what is happening in the news. And we have many other podcasts like The Chris Spangle Show, Upward, The Cost, Raw Audio Politics, Miranda's World, and Tad Talk, which is quite a ride. So check all of these out. Go to WeAreLibertarians.com and you can check out all of our great podcasts. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at WeAreLibertarians.com.